The Law of Mind in Action by Fenwicke, L. Holmes. Creating Atmospheres and Prosperity. We make our own heaven and our own hell through the conscious or unconscious use of the law. We do it by the thoughts we think and the attitude we assume. For the great law receives our mental impression and brings out into form the ideas of our mind. We are not, therefore, the creatures of some chance environment or circumstances. There is something in us that attracts us to them and them to us. If it were not so, we would move out of them. Do not complain about the world you live in. It is a reflection of your own thought. Do not blame others. Seek the cause in your own thinking. Ask, what is it that brought me here? What was my thought of failure that produced this? Then decide on the environment and circumstance you desire and mentally see yourself in your new surroundings. Then you are on the road to attainment, and your changes will begin to take place naturally from within. Your good does not come from without. The sooner you learn that you cannot expect someone else to hand it to you, the better off you will be. You cannot change the unpleasant to the pleasant by a mere change of place. We are all surrounded by the atmosphere that most corresponds to our mental mood. So soon as we change our mood, we shall find ourselves in better conditions. Every person and every place is surrounded by an impalpable atmosphere, which people feel even when they don't know what it is that affects them. Before the writer had learned these great truths, he spent a night with a physician in whose house many operations were performed for appendicitis. The atmosphere was so strong of this fear that it caught the contagion of thought, and later was operated on to have the thought cut out. Unless our mind is very positive, we become susceptible to the atmospheres about us. We must be careful not to attract ourselves to negative mental atmospheres. And should we find ourselves at any time open to negative influence, we must assume at once a positive attitude and declare ourselves superior to it. Disease often comes by some impression from without, which we harbour. After a while, the thought develops like the seed and grows from within. It can never become a disease for us until we accept it, either consciously or by tacit agreement to the race suggestion, and allow it to grow from within. Many places have strongly suggestive atmospheres. Some business places radiate goodwill and success. Others are full of feeling of failure and general despair. Enter some atmospheres and you are seized with the desire to laugh and dance and sing. Go into others and you feel like weeping. Contact people who are constantly thinking along the lines of music and you will experience a new interest in it. Contact literary men and women and you will feel a desire to create. One woman bought a new house and soon found herself desiring to write, although she had never shown any interest before in that direction. Later, she discovered that an author had lived there and used one of the rooms as her study. At one time, we had a metaphysical sanatorium. We bought a large house and advertised for patients. At first, few came, although we were widely known. One day, a patient of ours who lived in the city and came for daily treatment was late for her appointment. On asking her the reason why, we found she had been sitting for an hour in the park, feeling that something kept her from approaching the house. We began to make inquiries and found the house had been previously used as a private hospital. and many patients had been sick or died there. We accordingly went through all the rooms of the house and treated them all for the atmosphere of peace and faith, mentally filling them with patience. In a short time, all the rooms in the house were filled, and our business was thereafter always a success. People are very sensitive to atmospheres and can tell very well what others think of them, though no words pass between them. Jesus was like that and was able to tell Simon the general trend of his thought. He said, in effect, "Simon, you are condemning and criticizing me for my kindly attitude towards this woman." And then he showed him that he was quite indifferent to his opinion. Jesus, in turn, radiated an atmosphere so full of goodwill and healing power that people were healed by contact with his atmosphere, or, as some call it, his aura. This occurred in the case of the woman who touched him in the crowd. Virtue flowed out of him. That is, V, or life energy, radiated from him. The chief charm of personality lies in the power of the individual to radiate a certain magnetic influence, just as the sun radiates light and heat. The great leaders of history seem almost to have been charged with electricity, so powerful was the magnetic circle with which they were surrounded. Dr. Newell Dwight Hillis calls attention to this in a remarkable essay on the contagion of character. He says, Froude exhibits Julius Caesar drawing men unto him as a magnet draws particles of iron and steel. The rude Roman soldiers could no more escape the magnetic presence of their general than they could dodge the gravity of the earth. Such an atmosphere may be either of physical, mental, or spiritual origin, or may combine the elements of all. It has always been most remarkable in the most spiritual men and women. The atmosphere of such people is vibrant with healing energy that is often very astonishing. Next to Jesus, the disciples most evidence this healing power, being most rarely spiritual or else most completely turning their energies in this direction. It becomes very evident, therefore, that thoughts are things and that our world is the world of our own choosing and making. Since we have the power to create the atmosphere by which we are surrounded, we should guard our hearts with diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. We should recognize, too, that we tend to draw to us and to draw ourselves to the circumstances and people most like ourselves and our thought. If, therefore, you do not like your present circumstances, change your way of thinking, give conscious thought to this subject, and begin to create a new heaven and a new earth for yourself. Realization. I make my own heaven today. This day is what I make it, and my world is what I make it. Today, I am blessed because I bless. I am prospered because I believe in my prosperity. I have friends because I am one. I have love because I love. If your business is not prosperous, go into your store and bless it. This place is my place. It is the reflection of my thought. No other has any power over this place to give it an idea of failure. There cannot be any lingering thought of failure here. This place is full of the atmosphere of success and goodwill. Everybody who comes here is optimistic and prosperous. I attract business and success. I inspire people with confidence. I radiate the subtle atmosphere of success. People who come in here feel it. I have a constant attitude of faith toward my business. I do not think about failure, but only of success. I shall forget what happened yesterday and before, if it was not success. I establish a new standard for this place. Realize that it will do no great good for you to say it and to not mean it. And it will do no great good for you to mean it only for the time you are saying it. Hold this mental attitude all day. Hold it every day until the atmosphere is created and you are a success in visible expression. Put out your best efforts and act in such a way that people will feel that everything is all right. I have known people to succeed in the 11th hour. Be one of them. Go on then, blessing your place all day. If it is the home and there is inharmony there, treat it in the same way and say, "This house is the house of my spirit and the home of my heart. It cannot have inharmony, for I am harmony and love, and I draw only love here. Everyone in this house is thoughtful, kind, and considerate. I have faith in everybody here, and my faith is justified. I am now conscious of a new mental attitude, and no one coming into this home can fail to notice it. All is harmony and everything is delightful." One should think this truth every day until results are secured, and never fail to give thanks that your faith has found its place in the cosmic creative mind, and that it is being done unto you as you think.